Hey, what's up guys? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Please subscribe, like, and share. And I appreciate your support and your attention. This ain't gonna take long, but I figured we could do a real nice video today. I'm gonna let this car go by. But this is a real interesting one, little history video. We're on a bridge here. It's on Elizabeth Street here on the outskirts of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Of course, you know that there's a lot of towns and districts on the outsides of Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh is actually very large if you include the outskirt towns. But anyway, this area right here, let me show you guys where this university is, where they just built. This university is fairly new. That football field is very new. They just built that. That's still under construction. But this area, as far as you can see, all the way up to the river, basically this whole stretch of land here was nothing but factories and steel mills and the Industrial Revolution of the early 1900s and before. And this whole landscape has changed. And the only thing that remains is this building right here of the past. And I wanted to highlight this video right here of this building, because this building is the last remnant of what was left back a long time ago, where it was a different age, where it was a different time. So this is like a time capsule in a nutshell right here. So if you take notice to this building, looks like it's built out of old sheet metal. I don't even see buildings built like that anymore. It's hard to say what the purpose of this building was, but you can tell it was part of the old steel mill. And that's just very remarkable to me. And I know it is to you guys too, all you history buffs out there. Because this is the start of America. This is where we came from. And let's walk over here and get a closer look to this building, which is very interesting. Now, they probably refined the steel works in here. It might have been a little separate operation. It's no telling. Just let your imagination run wild. But this is definitely back when the old steel mills were here. One of the very few remaining structures. And I think this is very interesting. No shingles, just straight up old style sheet metal. You can tell. Look, it takes a long time for that to happen. I mean, this building here is probably 150 years old. And it goes along here. It's more of it here. And like I said, this was a different time and age. Everybody came to this mill. They worked. They provided for their families. They looked forward to things. They could afford things. And like I said, times have changed. Oh, and you can see here, look at this. This is an extra added bonus. I didn't even know this was visible, but as you can see, there's an opening. Wow. What a part of history we're looking at right now. Look at the old windows right there. Oh wow. Looks like a wooden structure, pretty simply built, but that's how they built things back in the day. As far as these mills go, they were built for purpose. And they served their purpose. About up until the 1970s, early 1970s, they started shutting these old mills down. And then they had a bunch of relics sitting around and they didn't know what to do with them, so they just started tearing them down. There's a few left around the city. They've made those museums and history visitor sites, but most of them are gone. It's just a figment of everybody's imagination of the past. It's a part of the past, but it's gone. The actual structures are gone. Now this particular town probably has a lot of history that I don't know. I know the job opportunities here are scarce for certain people. The manufacturing industry here and the industrial industry, it's not what it used to be. There is still some jobs here in the city of Pittsburgh that do those things, but the few jobs that remain, you have to go through a process. You have to go through a temporary service, which they have a pretty technical process in themselves. I'm learning now because I inquired about it. So I want to prepare you for that. You have to go through a whole lot of steps. You have to go through a probationary period. It isn't like back years ago to where you could just go to a job and get a job. Well, things have changed. You cannot do that anymore. You have to go through a temporary service. You have to go through a lot of red tape. You have to go through a background check or credit check. You have to go through a history check. They want to know everything about you. It's just different the way it was back then, which is probably a disadvantage to a lot of people, because a lot of people do have errors in their past that may not be their fault, and it's on their record, and they can't get past it. They can't get any chances. They can't get any opportunities. No job will hire them. So where does that leave them? So that's something to think about. That happens a lot. That's a big reason for the high unemployment rate in America, which is nowhere near what it says it is. For instance, this little place right here, this outskirt town of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I found out that the only jobs that are available here in this particular area are service sector jobs, such as Dollar General, supermarkets. You have a couple cafes here. Other than that, there's no opportunities here. You have a couple contractors. You see a contractor here renting this space probably from the railroad or from the city, and you can see water tanks and storage containers. You can see water containers there, and you can see the steel mats there for pouring concrete. So this is some kind of contractor business, and that's great. But these contractors, they don't hire but so many people. The name of the game is the less employees you have, the more money you make. So it's kind of hard to get on with one of these guys. You can get on the waiting list, but you just got to see how it goes. But like I said, times have changed. People can't just get hired. You can't just go to a job and get hired. You have to go through a process, a filtered process, a very detailed history process, and it's keeping a whole lot of people back. Basically, I don't know, I'd say 30-40% of America is held back because of these corporate rules and this process of hiring. And it's a real shame, but I'm not going to harp on it. But it's a real problem, and we have to think about that. We have to make some changes. People can change. Just because somebody has something on their record, a little something like a DUI or even a ticket or whatever they have on their record, the smallest thing could hold you back from getting a job. I mean, it could be over 10 years ago. They don't care. They have this strict screening process at these companies that it's ridiculous. And whoever came up with that, I think that they need to reimagine that. They need to rethink that, because you're holding America back. I mean, isn't this country about working? Isn't this country about opportunities? Well, not so much anymore. I know that it's some people watching this video that know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this is very interesting that this whole landscape was just littered with factories, nothing but factories. If you could just imagine the burner mills, the furnaces, the smokestacks, littered all across this country. And you can see over there, looks like another remnant of the past, but of course they made that another a power site over there. That's no longer a industrial factory, but that it looks like they left part of that and kind of repurposed it. I've done a previous video on that. They have solar panels on that, but anyway, it's very different now. And the other day when I was crossing this bridge, I got rocks thrown at me. And I'm not, complaining about anything, but the racial tensions in this country is very severe. It's in certain parts, in certain households. It was a group of teenagers. I think it was probably some 20-year-olds. It was about 10 or 15 of them. Yeah, the other day I was crossing this bridge, and they just started picking up the rocks from the train tracks and throwing them as hard as they could at me, calling me, racist, and every name in the book, cussing at me, and one of them rocks almost hit my head. So I'm rethinking my intentions and my purpose here at this exact location. So I may be moving on here pretty soon, but it's not only this area, it's a lot of different areas in the United States that's having to deal with these racial tensions. And I know nobody wants to talk about that. I know that's a poor subject, but it's real. And it's felt from both sides. It's felt from all sides. All races have to deal with this kind of thing, and it's very what do you call it? It's not good. You know, I mean, it's ignorance. It's demoralizing. It's sad. And anyway, make a long story short, I didn't fire any rocks back because I didn't have any rocks to fire back. But if I had one, I might have done it. But that's not solving the problem. I told them I was going to call the cops, and then I told them I was going to tell their parents, and that worked. You know, they hurried on home, and you know, they didn't talk. They didn't cuss at me no more. They didn't throw no more rocks after I threatened to tell their parents. And so keep that in mind, guys. You know, I mean, when a certain group starts throwing rocks at you and racial slurs and all that, you know, teenage kids, just threaten them with their parents. You know, that works. It really works. Because you know these parents, they're hard on these kids. You know, they know not to mess with their parents. They don't cross them. That's like their number one worst nightmare. So threaten them with that and see what happens. I mean, they just kept on walking. You know, they did not a word after that. They was like, oh, we better not mess with this one. So, anyway, guys, thank you for hanging in, and you know, I just want to keep this country on an upbeat vibe. You know, I want to bring hope. I want to bring, you know, people together. I want us to change things to where, you know, these rules and regulations and these technicalities that these corporations have, you're doing nothing but hurting America. You have a good job, y'all. You know, and I'm proud of you. You know, you should be proud of yourself for going to college and you know, having a job where you can go in the city and have a high income and you know, you're doing really well. That's another thing about Pittsburgh. You always have a helicopter flying above. I don't know what they're doing. It's probably a medical helicopter. And anyway, it's just a constant thing. I don't think it's surveillance, but if you're a paranoid person, that's not good. Because I used to think that they were surveilling me, but I'm just a small ant. I'm not worth surveilling. But anyway, but when you have a helicopter flying over your head, because I'm not from this area. I don't, you know, you're not really used to that. But anyway, guys, you know, I just want to leave it at that. You know, it's just times have changed, but we need to get out of this filtering process so people can go back to work. And the government needs to be aware of these problems. I think that Mr. Musk and his team started to address these issues, but for some reason they were put to a halt. I don't know what exactly happened, and I'm not getting into it, but I know somebody stopped it. I know somebody didn't like what they were doing, and it's just like a dark cloud, you know, over these inner cities, and not only Pittsburgh, but every city in America. It's just like a dark cloud over them. They're being held back. A certain demographic of people is being held back. They're not able to get jobs. They're not able to get through this filtering process. So it's a big problem. And if people were just given a second chance and just given a chance to show that they can do the work, that they can come in and be dependable and fill that position. Because these positions are not being filled. Anyway, guys, I love you. I'll catch you later. One more look at this. This is the whole point of the video. The past staring right at you. Isn't that a ghostly figure there? And no matter what, guys, keep your head up. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay happy. Stay positive. And good things will come to you. Oh, one more look. Let's look at this mountain here. Isn't this beautiful? Good shot at the neighborhood there. That beautiful mountain with the sun shining a little bit on it through the clouds. Beautiful.